it's almost like a sales process. You're almost trying to like reach and engage them, start to do discovery, and then qualify them in or out.
Hello and welcome to the Health Tech Marketing Podcast, brought to you by Health Launchpad and HIMSS. I am Adam Terminus. I'm the Health Launchpad founder and CEO, and I'm your host for today. I want to give you a big thank you for listening. We hope that you get lots of insights out of what you'll hear today, and I'm actually sure with these two guests I've got today, you're going to get a lot out of this. And I also want to give a big shout out and thank you to my partner HIMSS that makes this podcast possible. So today we're actually doing something a little bit unusual, and we've got two terrific guests today, and it's a special episode on partnerships, which I've always found to be one of those sort of vaguer things that some companies do really well, other companies sort of talk about it and don't really do it well, and it means different things to different people. And I've met both Jenna and Brittany over the last 6 months and been really impressed with the way that they think about partnerships. And we've also got, this is the first time I think we're doing guests across 7 time zones. And so from the UK, we have Jenna Chambers, who is the head of global partnerships from Terminus. And they are they are the ABM platform for over 1,000 companies. And then from the other side of the world, we have from Denver, Colorado, with Brittany Jones, who is Vice President of Partnerships for Gozio Health. Gozio provides end-to-end customizable digital health mobile engagement platforms, which do lots of different things. They help centralize access to patient-facing tools, and they also do a lot in the area of wayfinding, and I think that's kind of where they got started. And I think they're one of the leaders in this particular area. So, welcome to the show, both of you. First of all, I'd love you both to tell me a little bit about yourselves and your companies. Brittany, let's start with you.
Awesome, thank you. So I got my start in healthcare IT actually through a family friend at an early stage EMR company, and from then on, I was honestly hooked. I've always had a passion for partnerships and have really been able to help kind of form various partnerships programs over the past couple of years. But this is truly my first time being in a dedicated partnership role, and I'm loving it. A little bit more about Gozio. We partner with health systems to increase the consumer engagement using a proven mobile platform and strategy. The entire healthcare journey, both in-person and digital, is improved by giving health systems the flexibility to consolidate all of their patient-facing digital solutions into one premium native mobile experience. We also have a patented indoor positioning technology as well, too, that empowers consumers to confidently navigate their healthcare journey. And it also enables health systems to be more effectively and achieving their business goals. So excited to chat with you today.
Welcome, Brittany. Jenna, tell us about you. Tell us about Terminus.
Well, I'm in my second partnerships role, and like Brittany, I'm absolutely loving it as well. It's actually a career path I didn't know existed until not that long ago. So I started life as an in-house marketer, and I was with the company as we made the move from lead gen through to ABM. So I've been on that particular roller coaster from the inside. Then I was leading client services teams, integrated B2B agencies where we were delivering ABM, branding, demand gen, and everything else in between. And in that time, I came across partnership professionals within our vendor ecosystem and suddenly realized, oh my God, that's what I should be doing. That is the role for me. It's kind of like a perfect blend of all the experience that I've had to date. So that's a bit about me. Terminus, as you've mentioned, Adam, we're sort of what we call the true ABM platform. It's all about letting go-to-market teams align around their best fit potential customers and existing customers, identifying, segmenting that audience, then being able to actually engage them across our native channels. So we have web and chat and email, but most importantly, the industry-leading B2B advertising solution, all of that then wrapped up in our market-leading ABM scorecard. So actually understanding what your ABM efforts are doing to the company as opposed to just vanity metrics.
Great, excellent. Thank you both. So as I mentioned before, partnerships tends to mean slightly different things to different companies. And so I'd be just really curious to know what's the role of partnerships in your respective companies. Let's start with you, Jenna.
So to date, we have split partnerships in two. So there's two distinct camps. So one is agency partnerships, and that's where most of my focus to date has been. So that's all around finding organizations whose services wrap around our technology, where the technology plus the services mean a great ABM program and campaign for clients. We also have tech partnerships where we have integrations and we need to make sure that our mutual customers are seeing the benefit of those integrations. We can make referrals to each other. But really, it doesn't matter which side it sits on. The role of partnerships is to be, first of all, a source of new business for Terminus, first and foremost. So be introduced to prospects we might not otherwise be known about, or we might be struggling to engage. And then on the flip side, what about customers already on the technology? Our partners then have a role to play to make sure that they get the most out of their investment and that they're maximizing their ABM programs in general.
Got it. So it's sales and technology, and thought about in very distinct ways, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Brittany, how about at Gozio?
So it really does mean different things. And that's really even true internally. So some of our partners, they're purely technical. A client wants a solution in their app, and we connect that solution. Once we've done that work, we can obviously offer that connection to any other clients. Sometimes those vendors become more strategic partners for us. We may look at even a referral relationship or even co-selling because we can bring more value together and make our solutions even stickier for our health system partners. And then there are industry groups, consultants, and others that we build strategic relationships with that give us more credibility in the market and even help us reach specific partners.
Got it. Yeah, in fact, when I had my own software company, we had a mobile communications application platform, and I think we were around and looking at partners, I think prior to Gozio, knowing about Gozio, and we actually had a partnership with another company, which I don't even know if they're still around, to put the two together. And it was really interesting trying to go out and sell it as a joint value proposition. It made a lot of sense to us. It was just hard sometimes to get the clients to see it. I think we were just a bit ahead of the curve there. And I mean, so, Brittany, just carry on. It's like, how do you go about identifying potential strategic partners for your business? What's that process look like?
So I think we are always looking at how the relationship will bring value. Will it give us more credibility in the market? Will it enhance, our presence in the market? Will it make our offerings even better? We work with a lot of health systems across the country, and that's always top of mind when we're looking at those partners. We actually recently opened up our platform to third-party development, and this is so exciting for us. This is going to allow our customers and prospects to do more faster. We truly want them to be able to put any digital solution into their mobile app, because the more useful and relevant the platform is, the more engagement they're going to see from their patients, visitors, and staff. But we also, we can't partner with everyone and build everything. So now we can be very strategic about which solutions make most sense for us to work with, because, it's going to be good for our people and our clients. We simply can't, like I said, build everything and partner with everyone. But now we're going to be able to allow our health system partners to be able to build what they want on our platform.
So what would be the criteria for, making the cut there?
So it kind of, it goes back to, we are seeing a trend with kind of, very, very similar health systems are using the same partners. So we've definitely, we work with a lot of appointment reminder vendors that are out there. We embed our solution within those appointment reminders, help again drive adoption, provider data management solutions, wait times, obviously patient portals. All of those things really bring, the solution together and really make it sticky. And that's really what we want. But, every once in a while, we're going to get a health system partner that maybe wants to do something unique and cool, like, be able to control a TV in a hospital bedside room from the palm of their hand. We can take that technology, bring it into our mobile experience, and it all works.
So that makes sense. So you kind of essentially creating your own ecosystem. And Jenna, you mentioned ecosystem. So how do you make a decision about who's in the ecosystem and maybe who's not?
Yeah, I could not agree more, Brittany, with everything you said there. And I think that's the key. It's like we can't work with everybody, unfortunately. So like I guess maybe more of a tactical explanation of what I do is I almost treat it like an ABM program. So I do lots of research up front. Like I said earlier, my focus is on agency partners. So right now, so I'm trying to identify those agencies that offer ABM services to their clients, research whether our client's ICP is an overlap and a good fit, and then making sure that we can tell that mutual story. What is that co-branded value prop, for lack of a better phrase? Their services plus our technology equals a great ABM solution for our mutual clients. And both sides need to understand and actually believe in that. If that's just me and another partnership person trying to make that work, it's actually never going to roll out and become a true partnership. Everybody, the extended stakeholders on both sides need to really buy into that. And then once that research has been done, in terms of looking for low-hanging fruits, I look to see if we've got any mutual connections so that we can get warm intros going. Yeah. And at that point, it's almost like a sales process. You're almost trying to like reach and engage them, start to do discovery, and then qualify them in or out as potential partners. So sometimes it can become very intangible. Everything on paper is perfect. You're almost you're in the middle of the process and you realize actually this is just not going to work, maybe from a chemistry perspective. Like the teams just don't quite gel. They come at things slightly differently. And actually the best thing you can do, I think, at that point is to walk away rather than try to put like a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And you use Crossbeam, don't you, for that kind of seeing whether that Crossbeam is really interesting. It's sort of it's relatively new, right? It sounds like it's only been around a few years, but it seems to
I was going to say, sorry, this is my first place using it, so yeah. I'm almost evangelical about it because prior to that I didn't have this line of sight, and now that I have it, I'm like, okay, that's I will never do without it again.
Well, I mean, when we started, work because we're in partnership, and when we started working together, so you mentioned Crossbeam, I hadn't heard of it. My colleague had, and when we started using it, I thought, wow, where's this been? This was because it just makes it so easy to see where the overlaps are and manage that process, which is always gets really messy. So I mean, building on that, those notions, Jenna, what do you think are some of the key elements of what makes a successful partnership? One that works, and maybe one that's like, as you say, you sort of like cut bait.
It's going to sound really obvious, but there needs to be something in it for the partner. I think sometimes some vendors come at partnerships from the angle of, our technology is amazing, why wouldn't you want to work with us? Like you need to think kind of beyond that. Like there needs to be value in it for them, and it could be they can't deliver their services to their clients without this technology. And if that's the case, frankly, you're a very lucky partner professional. If your partners absolutely need your technology, then you're golden. That's often not the case. Sometimes our competitor is not another product that does the same, but it's being able to do it manually, actually not needing a technology. So the value for them has got to be that they can see how their life gets easier by working with us. There's often a monetary element to it as well. So there's a lot of programs that have got kind of a commission element to it. So the more business that a partner brings to us, the higher tier that partner sits in, and therefore the higher commission level they sit at. And so then it just, it just becomes a case of the more we do together, the more both of us benefit, and sort of like we raise each other up.
It's interesting because you haven't used the reseller word, and So I mean, talk about why are they resellers or are they not really?
They're not resellers. So we specifically had to sit down when I took over the partner program and said, we've got the opportunity to do straightforward referrals. or we've got the opportunity to do reseller. And what we found, especially with our technology, is the reason that we love working with agencies is that we need their services wrapped around the technology, or the client has to be so good at ABM that the technology is an enabler. So we don't have, it's not a case of you buy the technology and suddenly you're doing ABM overnight. You still need to do great sales and marketing. And we found with a reseller model, if we've got absolutely no relationship with that end client, it's very hard for us to kind of give advice and steer in the right direction. So what we say is it's a straightforward referral model. Partners make the referral, and then Terminus, the partner and the end client end up working kind of like in a three-way unit the whole way through the relationship. So we don't do reseller for that reason.
Makes perfect sense. Brittany, how about with Gozio? How do you, what is it that makes a successful partnership? And then how do you do the reseller versus referral thing?
Yeah, honestly, I echo a lot of what Jenna just said. Beyond bringing, value, I think we prioritize partnerships where it really is a two-way street. And we're both invested in the success. If there is not really that give and take and we end up doing all the work, this isn't a relationship that we're looking for. Similar to Jenna, we're not really in the reseller market. Just because of the complexity of the solution that we bring. It's really hard for us to effectively train another sales team to really understand what we do and speak about it effectively. So really what we've been doing is kind of that referral piece. Going in, all three of us working together and ensuring that we're bringing value to the organization, whether that's one of our existing clients that we're bringing a new solution to, or it's a prospect that's looking to do some new, cool, innovative things, and we've brought in a partner to help with that. So, yeah, not in the reseller space right now.
Yeah, that it's the reseller thing is interesting. So, with my own software company, we were in competition with companies that did purely secure texting. So at the time, there's a company called Tiger Text. It's now Tiger Connect, and they do a lot more now. But at the time, they were really focused on laser light on a single use case, and it made them actually a much more likely candidate for a reseller because it was easy for them to train the resellers on that single use case. We had a more customizable solution, and just most resellers just couldn't get their head around it. We had one reseller who was extremely successful and accounted for about a third of our business, but most of the other resellers just didn't plan out because it was too hard for them. And we did do referrals. So yeah, I'm very familiar with that issue. So when you think about the success of the partnership, you've got folks you need to work with internally. So how does that work? Who do you actually need to work with internally? Who do you need to collaborate with to make the partner program a success? Let's start with you, Brittany.
Yeah, so we have spent a lot of time working with not just sales and customer support teams, but marketing as well, too. Engaging marketing right out of the gate is super important to the success of the program. While the partnerships program is really about generating leads, we need all parties to really be on board to help in marketing the program. And it's not just about a single sale. The entire goal of our partnerships program is to generate business. We, have a goal this year of generating about 20 to 30% of pipeline growth for the Gozio organization through the partnerships program alone. So those relationships, they have to be intentional and they have to be strategic.
And where does partnerships sit? I mean, do you report to sales? You obviously don't report to marketing based on what you just said.
Yeah, so I technically report into the sales side of the house, but definitely work collaboratively with a lot of technical teams. So I have an engineer that I work very, very closely with when it comes to getting into the technical weeds of how is this actually going to work? But yeah, we kind of fall into the sales side of the house just because it's tied to really kind of driving that pipeline growth.
How about Terminus?
Yeah, so I report into the CRO, but I'm the same as you, Brittany. I've always seen partners as sitting squarely between sales, CS, and marketing because you're a source of ops for sales, but you co-market with your partners. And because it's that long-term relationship, not just one sale and move on, you need to manage your partners the same sort of way that a CSM would manage a client. So it's all of those skill sets that you need to have yourself, but also those are the teams that you need to work with. But I think the other internal set of stakeholders that I've found invaluable is finance and RevOps. So often you're working on different SKUs, you're introducing commission packages. There's basically just a whole host of processes that need to be operationalized internally that frankly I did not have the skill set for, nor the patience. And, there are people much better at connecting that to the wider business and how that operates and can give that advice. And I've found RevOps in particular to be invaluable.
Interesting. Why RevOps? I get the finance part of it, but not the explain that.
Well, in our company, RevOps really are front and center of all of our go-to-market. They're not sort of just a team on the side doing back-end work. They are very much they're looking at all of the data. They're trying to figure out trends. They're, constantly coming proactively to me and going, oh, hey, I've been reading about this different way to do partnerships. What if we thought this way? And could we think to repackage in this way? And they're like a real strategic partner internally, not just the people who make the back end work.
Got it. Interesting. Yeah, I think we're going to do a whole episode on RevOps because that's with the sort of movement towards GTM. RevOps is becoming like the coming out of the back office, as you say. I mean, so for anyone listening who's thinking about how can I make my partnership program work more successfully with companies like yourselves, what are some of the common challenges that they might face or you might face, and how can what's the best way to address them? I'm just trying to give people advice on what from their perspective should they be thinking about in terms of how to make a partnership successful.
So
Jenna, why don't you start? Yeah.
I was going to say the absolute number one issue that I've come across is a direct sales team. And I'm very lucky this is not currently at Terminus, but a direct sales team who's used to selling direct. Because it's a completely different approach to selling direct versus selling via a partner. It's a different mindset. It's not that sort of, sell at all costs, hit your commission, move on to the next deal. Often you're working at the partner's pace because they're the one that's made the referral. And especially in our line of business, the partner is often trying to land the client first. Then they're spending months probably doing kind of insights, data research, strategy, and then the technology comes at a later point. You might have salespeople sort of chomping at the bit to try and make that tech sale, and the partner's sort of saying, no, that's going to be 2-3 months away. And so it's a longer term, kind of a bit more of a gentle approach to sales. In terms of yeah, and I don't think I'd recognized it until I moved into a partner role, and I was sort of because my first place, the first partner role I had is we closed our own deals, so we didn't source them and hand them over to sales. We sourced them ourselves, and it wasn't until I kind of week on week was checking in with the direct sales team and seeing how they were operating versus how I was operating, and realized it's actually quite nuanced and really, really quite different. I feel like at Terminus, I'm just really lucky. We've got loads of our sales teams are ex-Terminus users, which means they're ex-marketers. So they're not really salespeople. They're just in sales roles now. So they kind of get the mindset a lot more than maybe some out and out just salespeople might. So I feel quite lucky with where I am just now.
Yeah. Brittany, how about you? What advice would you give about sort of the number one issue?
We have started to see a little bit of channel conflict, which we knew would happen. As we bring on more partners and we expand this partnership ecosystem, obviously you're going to have all people trying to help at different kind of areas. So, making sure that you just don't have too many cooks in the kitchen. We're a little bit different when it comes to kind of how we go chase deals. We have direct sales teams and they're out chasing deals. And then we also have the partnership program. So how do we all work together, ensuring that we don't have too many cooks in the kitchen? This was kind of something that surprised me that happened really early on, but we've really kind of put a strategy in place so that it's not a problem anymore.
So it sounds like from what both of you are saying is simplicity. Keep it simple in terms of who's actually selling and who's communicating with who. I like that notion of too many cooks in the kitchen. And so partnerships, they can take a long time to evolve. And actually, you have to be quite patient. And so how do you, over the course of time, how do you maintain engagement? How do you keep your partners motivated? How do you guys do it, Brittany?
It's like you just said, it's constant engagement with your partners, continuing to stay top of mind, and help motivate each other to continue to do the good work. Even finding new ways to really get in front of them, meet them in person. While COVID allowed a lot of the world to learn to work remotely, there's honestly something special when you actually get to meet people in person.
Well, and absolutely. I used to, I used to get frustrated going to all kinds of conferences where because you expect that you're going to go meet loads and loads of customers and prospects, and they don't always come out on the, they try and stay below the radar screen when they're out in the exhibit hall, but always fantastic for partnership discussions. And actually what we learned to do was just relax about meeting new customers, use venues like HIMSS Global Conference to connect with your existing customers, but also for as you say, meeting partners face to face, because there's no substitute for it in person. How about you, Jenna? What's the how do you maintain those relationships? How do you nurture those relationships over time?
Yeah, so actually, just before I answer that, I am so much in agreement about face-to-face events, and I think that's been my favorite thing of moving into partner role. Is events used to be oh my goodness, okay, I'm gonna have to go and try and speak to as many people as possible and generate opportunities and kind of prove that the ROI of the event was a success. Whereas now, I love going to it because I'm messaging people beforehand. I'm going along to events to keep in touch with people I already know, not necessarily to try and meet new people. We had one in November last year that for our industry, so ABM in London. And honestly, I don't think any of us went to any of the sessions. We all just hung out in the breakout area. It was just so happy to see each other. It was a great big social. It was great. But 100%, it's staying top of mind that is the huge challenge with partnerships, especially if you're a small team. How do you scale that? It's very, very hard. And I think if you're part of a program or part of a project that you're working on with your client, then that's fine because that is an active moment in your partnership. But what about when you're slipping to the back of their mind because you're not in the middle of anything with them right now? And in terms of trying to scale myself, that's something that I'm actively thinking through at the moment. So I'm trying a few different things. So we are starting to run ads to partners. So not to try and really get them to do anything, but just to sort of, we have an ads platform that lets you run to individual companies. Why wouldn't I take advantage of that and start to target partners and remind them of things that are coming up and tell them about new product releases, etc. And then I'm also starting a fortnightly newsletter that is not written by marketing, written by me, and it's just very chatty, and it's as if I'm emailing each of the partners, but just trying to do it at scale because I can't meet every partner every week, but I need to be front of mind every week. So I'm just trying different ways to make that happen at the moment.
That's I like the way that's sort of thoughtful, and deliberate. How about you, Brittany? I think the partnership program is somewhat new, right? It's probably it's been in formation for a while, but really only formalized recently. What's your plans on how to scale that?
Well, I love the idea of the newsletter to partners. I think I'm going to have to just write down and copy, but it's really, staying engaged with them. Right now we've got about a handful of, very, very strategic partners, but we're really, really expanding quickly. So how do, as Jenna mentioned, how do I scale it? I'm a single person running partnerships. So, I'm a small and nimble team to try to make it all happen. But yeah, that constant engagement is going to be key. And like she mentioned, how do you talk to them weekly, stay top of mind, and do it at scale? So lots of good ideas.
Yeah, it's such an important thing because, in my own experience, we were never able to scale it. We were very successful with one partner, but we never figured out exactly how to, get to turn it into a scalable program. I think maybe partly it was because of the nature of the product, but I just don't think we ever figured it out. Anyway, so this conversation has been, I've learned a lot, and I'm sure that everybody listening to this will taken away a lot of different ideas and things that they can start to work on. So as we come to a close here, I want to ask you both a question that I ask all our guests, and that's, if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would that be? Let's start with you, Brittany.
Always push for what you want and set unattainable goals, and then go chase those unattainable goals.
Got it. But nice and crisp. How about you, Jenny?
So I would say don't be scared to ask questions. You need to ask questions to grow. When I was younger, I think I assumed I had to just magically know all the answers, and I could never ask Indy for anything because it would show that I didn't know something and therefore inferior. But actually, once I realized that wasn't the case and I started asking every question under the sun, I probably got 10 times better at my job.
Great. Excellent. Yeah, I always like to be the person who says, can I ask a dumb question? And it's usually the good question is, oh God, I'm so glad you asked that question.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been such a pleasure having you both on the podcast. Thank you very much for doing this. So before we go, I just want to let anyone out there who's listening or watching, you can subscribe to this podcast on Apple or Spotify, whatever your favorite podcast channel is. And if you're listening and you want to watch this, you can view the video through the link in the show notes. We've got more guests coming up. As I mentioned, I think we're going to do one on RevOps coming soon. But if you've got any other ideas out there, email me at adam@healthlaunchpad.com. So thank you very much, Jenna and Brittany, and have a great rest of the day.